Manchester United haven't given up on signing a midfielder this summer and they're aiming big. We know the dream is Carlos Baleba, but it looks like it's going to happen in 2026. But that's not stopping them doing something now. Adam Wharton being looked at, but will Palace sell him? That's unknown. But looking at Santos of Chelsea, again, Chelsea reluctant to sell him. But also now looking at one of the highest rated players in Europe, a player that I've spoken about on this channel in the past, one of the best passers of the ball on this channel in the past, one of the best passers of the ball, in Angelo Stiller. Ineos aiming big for their final move and aiming to still get a midfielder in the door. And the more and more we're credibly linked to good midfielders, the more encouraging that is that clearly the plan is to go into this season with a new midfield signing. We will talk about Mainoo's future. What is the latest on that? We will talk about Højlund because Napoli are not ruling out doing a permanent deal. We will talk about the goalkeeper situation and Jadon Sancho. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show, where we're going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into 10 minutes for you guys. If you do enjoy today's video, feel free to hit that like button, and of course, subscribe down below if you're new. So, Ben Jacobs came out early today and said one of the midfielders on Manchester United's list of options is Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller. No guarantee anything develops or that any midfielder arrives, but internal discussions taking place over different targets. Stiller has come up in discussions as Manchester United now decide whether to sign another midfielder before the window shuts. I think the fact that we've looked at Baleba, I think the fact that we've looked at Santos, it says to me that clearly they want a midfielder, clearly they know we need a midfielder, and maybe they're weighing up, is there a midfielder in the market right now that we can get that we think is good enough? I don't think Ineos want to bring in a midfielder for the sake of bringing in a midfielder and it be another Agate and we get there the following summer and go, he's just not the guy, and spend 50 million on someone. They know that Baleba's the guy. They know that Baleba's the guy they want, and they know they might have to get him in 2026. So I think the thing they're weighing up is there someone we can get now and then get Baleba next year? Because I feel like if there's a midfielder for 60, 70 million, it might mean we can't get Baleba next year. And Baleba we know is the perfect guy. So I think is there a midfielder out there that Ineos think that we can get? Because Adam Wharton's great, but can we actually get him? Baleba's great, can we actually get him? That isn't going to impact our midfield pursuit next year. Because I think we'll be looking at signing 2 midfielders. But I think the fact that we're linked to Stiller is definitely a big green flag. He's one of the options on the list. We've looked at Wharton, probably not going to get him. We've looked at Santos, probably not going to get him. We've looked at Baleba, probably not going to get him. But it's good to have options like this on the list. But obviously, there's no guarantee anything develops. We might look at him and say, actually, maybe physically he doesn't suit the demands of the Premier League. Because while Angelo Stiller is good, and while I'd love Angelo Stiller at Manchester United, I do think Angelo Stiller is someone that comes in for Bruno or Mainoo rather than someone that comes in for Agate or Casemiro. And I think, Baleba and Stiller is a brilliant midfield. If Bruno goes and Stiller's the replacement, Wharton's the replacement, but we're not worried about Bruno or Mainoo right now. We're worried about Casemiro and Agate. And I think Baleba and Santos are more of the alternatives to Casemiro and Agate. Another alternative would be Amadou Onana as well. But look, Adam Wharton, I think, would be the dream. If you're going for Stiller and you could get Adam Wharton, I would go for Adam Wharton over Stiller. He is the dream target for United, but because Eze is going to Arsenal, Gay going to Liverpool, I don't think Crystal Palace are going to be doing any kind of moves in regards to Adam Wharton. But there is a player that could be on the market, and that is Amadou Onana. Ben Jacobs has come out and said that Al Ahly have added Aston Villa's Amadou Onana to their list of midfield targets. It's not an easy deal to get done. No approach to Aston Villa yet. But I'm thinking, Stiller's great. Wharton's great, but we can wait till 2026 to get Stiller or Wharton because I rate Bruno, I rate Mainoo, and I think that they're more players that would play better with like an Agate or Casemiro than a Mainoo because they're very good on the ball. I think we need someone that's very good off the ball because we know Mainoo's good on the ball. We know what Bruno can do, and I think if you can't get Baleba, I would look at an Amadou Onana. I would look at a Santos who Chelsea aren't going to sell as the sort of player to come in for Casemiro Agate this year, and then next year you go all out for an Adam Wharton or Stiller. But look, if we sign Adam Wharton, I'm absolutely gassed. He is my second choice after Baleba. I'd be so happy if we signed Adam Wharton, and he could play with Mainoo and he could play with Bruno, but I do think there could be defensive concerns. But he'd be fantastic. Stiller would be fantastic. Like all of the players I've named have been fantastic. And I said this, at the end of the day, we signed Stiller, Wharton, Baleba, Santos, any of those 4 players, I'm going to be very happy. I mentioned this. One of the encouraging things this summer is the type of midfielders United are looking at. Baleba clearly the priority, Wharton next in line, plus inquiries for players like Stiller and Santos. Feels like for once we actually know what profile we need. Too many past windows we've either ignored midfield or signed to the wrong type. Even if we don't sign any of these guys, it's nice to know we are looking at the right midfield profiles. Santos, Baleba bring what we need off the ball. Perfect for that Agate Casemiro replacement, but they're also better on the ball than Agate. The reason Agate is good off the ball, but he's just not good on the ball, makes Agate a liability. It's the reason we need to upgrade him, because he just doesn't do enough on the ball. Whereas Wharton and Still is probably what we need on the ball, a line-breaking, progressive passer. In an ideal world, you sign Baleba now and Wharton or Stiller next season, but if you could get one of Wharton and Stiller now and still get Baleba next season, that would be brilliant. But I see Baleba as a Casemiro replacement. I see Wharton as a Bruno replacement. Maybe that's how I see it. But Stiller, again, I see it as someone more on the ball for the pivot, but I think Stiller would be a really good signing. And I just think for me, even if we don't sign them, I have confidence saying, well, we're looking at the right kind of players in Angelo, Stiller, in Adam Morton. And if Amadou Onana is available on the market and Al Ali are interested, you surely got to look at Amadou Onana. Now, my one question over signing Stiller is he's got a lot of similar qualities to Mainoo. Very good on the ball, but there's question marks off the ball in terms of he's good off the ball, don't get me wrong, but with the physicality of the Premier League, with the ground coverage we need in a midfield too, he's not someone that I think is the perfect partner for Mainoo or the perfect partner for Bruno, whereas for me, Baleba is. So there is questions of, because he's quite similar to Mainoo, what does this leave Mainoo? Now, I love Kobbie Mainoo. I think that we need to build this team around Kobbie Mainoo, and I think Amorim has to make it work with Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's just such a good talent. Now, I love Mainoo. Manchester United's stance is Mainoo isn't going anywhere. But Laurie Whitwell was asked about it on Talk of the Devils podcast today, and he did say since January, reports have suggested United could, and the big word here is reluctantly sell Mainoo if major offers arrived. There's been ongoing uncertainty around Mainoo because of the contract and obviously not getting loads of minutes under Amorim and about his future at the club. However, there is strong indications this summer that Mainoo will not leave. There is a big long-term plan for him. But there is clubs that have made inquiries around Mainoo. But look, I don't want Mainoo to go anywhere. I feel like when you've got a player with the talent of Kobbie Mainoo, you've just got to make it work. And I think that is on Amorim. Now, talking to a player that should be leaving, that is expected to leave, Rasmus Højlund. Napoli are not ruling out including an obligation to secure the signing of Rasmus Højlund. Now, I don't know if you watched my late night roundup yesterday, but we discussed all the latest news in regards to Rasmus Højlund yesterday, that obviously AC Milan for him for Højlund, but it didn't include an obligation to buy, only an option to buy. Højlund didn't like that, so they've gone and signed Victor Boniface. It's now obviously talk around Napoli and for Højlund because of Lukaku's injury. Højlund, I think, is upset that he needs to go. It's took him a while to accept that he needs to go and leave Manchester United, but Højlund's sort of upset that he's got to go. He's not going to get the minutes. And that's not been easy for Højlund, but Højlund is now prioritising an obligation, a permanent move, because he doesn't want to go on loan and then be this time next year searching for a permanent club again. He wants a bit of stability. He doesn't want to be going on loan, waiting for that club, waiting for that move. He's seen Antony, he's seen Sancho, he's seen Garnacho, he's seen the bomb squad. He doesn't want to be in it next year. So he's sort of trying to put pressure on Napoli to do a permanent deal. And Napoli aren't ruling out an obligation, which also helps Manchester United because we ideally want an obligation. So I think him putting that pressure on Napoli helps us. In regards to the goalkeeping situation, it was said that a new goalkeeper signing depends on whether Andre Onana leaves, and that was said by Laurie Whitwell. He also mentioned it's unlikely that Onana is going to leave this summer. But Laurie Whitwell did mention that some people inside Manchester United believe a new goalkeeper is clearly needed, and that is true. Look, we need Baleba and we need a top goalkeeper. That's what we need, and I don't think we can do that this summer, sadly. I think we could bring in at least one more big signing this summer, whether that be Stiller, because we can't get Baleba. We'll have to wait and see. I think the fact that we're looking at Stiller, as I mentioned earlier, and we've looked at Santos and we've looked at Wharton and we've looked at Baleba, at least we're looking at the same kind of players. And clearly there's a bit of money there to do one more big signing. Now, I would pick midfield over goalkeeper, but clearly we need both. I think if we're going to sign a goalkeeper, it's going to be Lemons. He wants the move. Apparently Amorim likes Lemons, but I think we're focused on midfield. It would just be interesting to see if we bring in a midfielder. But goalkeeper, a lot of people inside United believe we need a new goalkeeper, and that is true. But with Onana and the wages he's on, it's not going to be a first-team keeper. It's going to be more someone to challenge Onana. Talking of wages, talking of big money, Jadon Sancho to AS Roma is still a possibility with the Italian club in non-stop contact for the Manchester United winger. Dialogue will continue in the coming hours and Roma are waiting for the green light from Sancho. So even though Romano has said a few days ago that Sancho's saying no to Roma, he said he's not coming for the move or something like that. I don't know exactly what Romano said, but Romano and good journalists very much suggested that that Sancho was sort of saying no to Roma. But now journalists are coming out saying talks are back on. Did Sancho say no and then put pressure on Man United to give him, I don't know, a compensation fee for leaving? Is Roma coming with a better wage offer? I'm not quite sure what's going on with Sancho, but Roma have gone back into contact with Manchester United regarding Sancho, according to Italian sources, which means if Sancho straight up said no, which was the indication that we got from media the last few days, has something changed? I don't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. I don't think Sancho's going to go to Roma, but there has been a few stories heating up again. So maybe Man United, if they pay Sancho X amount, he'll leave. Maybe if Roma pay Sancho X amount, he'll leave. Maybe I don't know. But it's interesting to see that we're in for Stiller and good midfield targets. Hopefully, Mainoo doesn't go anywhere. I don't think he'll leave this summer, but I do think next summer there could be question marks around it, depending on how the season goes. But I think we need to build around Mainoo, and we do want to keep her, but we're probably not going to get one. Is all the news with Højlund also potentially going on a permanent. Thank you for watching this 10-minute roundup. Bye.